Hello 1009, welcome to Module 7, Week 7 of the course. So we're continuing on our discussion of biological information and growth. And this week we'll be discussing two key processes that sort of relate both concepts almost physically. And so the first one is going to be, in general, we're going to be discussing the cell cycle in eukaryotic organisms. This includes ourselves. We are eukaryotic organisms. And we're going to be discussing two different aspects of the cell cycle. The first is mitosis. Mitosis is the generation of two identical cells from one maternal cell, mother cell. This is the process that's involved in growth from the start, when you're a single cell embryo, to the generation of a fully formed infant. This is a process involved in cellular repair. So if you get a cut, this is the process that regenerates the tissue around that cut. It's involved in regeneration. Your organs are constantly going through a process of regeneration and rejuvenation that involves mitosis, the regeneration of new cells. Some of your organs or tissues or cells regenerate at a relatively rapid pace, like blood cells are doing a lot of work, and so they need to be regenerated on an order of 120 days. Your bones, though, are regenerated on an order of every 10 years. So every 10 years, you have a new skeleton. Isn't that pretty interesting? All of that involves the process of mitosis. The other cell cycle we'll be discussing is meiosis. Meiosis involves the production of sex cells, or gametes. These are the cells that pass our genetic information on to the next generation. So these are the cells that are actually doing the work of passing biological information from one generation to the next. This is the process of inheritance, and this is really key to understanding how evolution and life on Earth work. So the study guide for this chapter is relatively vague, unfortunately, but I want you to focus on a few key things. One is, how do chromosomes sort during this process, and how is that genetic information sorting along with those chromosomes? So we want to understand, what are homologous chromosomes? How do those homologous chromosomes duplicate through DNA replication? What are the resulting products? What are the resulting genetic information that's linked to those products? A good way to do this is diagram meiosis and mitosis, and along the way, track different alleles that are attached on different chromosomes. So homologous chromosomes are two chromosomes that are similar but not identical. They have the same genes, but they might have different copies of those genes, right? You got one from mom and one from dad. And so start with a set of homologous chromosomes, draw in two different alleles, big A, little a, and then track how those sort during the process of meiosis and mitosis. Then do it for two sets of chromosomes and see how that changes. Because one thing you want to understand is, at the end of meiosis, or really the process of meiosis itself, results in new genetic variation from one generation to the next, and we want to understand how that works. So what's the physical process of meiosis, the physical processes in meiosis that result in new genetic information, okay? I'll be adding some supplementary videos to kind of help you with this material. This is one of the more difficult, challenging subjects in this course for a lot of students, so I'll try to provide you with some additional resources to understand it. But of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. It's a pretty standard week. We have this week reading chapter 14, you have your homework, you have a quiz, and then a what did you learn this week. So that's it. Of course, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have a good week.